Greetings once again, friends, live from Retro Central. My name is Peter, and on today, May 4th, 2015, welcome to a special edition of Consolation, talking a little bit about Star Wars video games. Most notably, my favorite Star Wars video game of all time, and that's what you're looking at on the GX TV over here to my left. The Empire Strikes Back, released in 1985 for arcades from Atari Games. It was the follow-up to the very popular Star Wars arcade game. As you can see, the vector graphics are very similar. If you played the game in arcades, the steering mechanism, the play control mechanism is very similar with that yoked steering wheel / stick. And the experience is very similar. But what's different about this game is that the missions are a little bit different. As you'll recall, in the Star Wars arcade game, you had 3 very specific missions. You had the TIE fighter battle outside of the Death Star, then you took down some towers and bunkers on the surface of the Death Star, followed by the infamous Death Star attack run down the trench, where you would blow up the Death Star and start again. Empire Strikes Back, though, adds an extra mission. You start by taking down Probots. Then you move on to the Battle on Hoth, where you take down AT-ATs and AT-STs. Follow that up with another TIE fighter battle, which is probably my favorite thing to do in both of these arcade games. And then last but not least, you take down asteroids, or not take them down, but rather you avoid them. See, shooting the asteroids doesn't do anything here, so what you have to do is avoid them, try not to lose all of your shields, and listen to C-3PO tell you about how bad the odds are. It's a very enjoyable experience, and just different enough from the Star Wars arcade game to make it its own. Now, I'm sure each of you has your own favorite Star Wars game, but the reason that this one is my favorite, honestly, there are 2 reasons. The first is because of the first time that I played it. Again, this is 1985, so I was 13 years old at the time, very impressionable. I remember playing it at a mall arcade after visiting my grandmother for the weekend, and just the differing missions, I got so involved, being able to take down Probots and walkers, and I felt like I was playing a video game version of the movie, which was unlike anything I had played to that point. Also, the addition of collecting all of the letters in Jedi to be completely invulnerable for a short amount of time was also a pretty big catch. The other fond memory that I have of this game is that it got me out of being in a fight. Later in 1985, I actually was supposed to get beat up by a bully in school. He had size advantage on me. I mean, look at me. I can't fight worth a damn. I couldn't back then. I can't now. So thinking quickly, I challenged him to a battle in The Empire Strikes Back. I said, if you beat me playing The Empire Strikes Back, you can beat me up all you want. But if you don't show up, or if I beat you, then you have to leave me alone. And for whatever reason, the bully bought it. He left me alone, and interestingly enough, the night of the supposed showdown, he never showed. So I never got beat up, and even more importantly, other kids showed up, saw that he didn't show up, and he kind of lost his bully status because he didn't know how to respond. He thought he would lose, I guess. So those are the 2 fond memories that I take away from Empire Strikes Back, the arcade game. Both Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back are 2 of my favorites, probably my top 2 favorite games of all time in the Star Wars universe. I'm also one of the crazy people that likes playing the Rebel Assault games. I know, but I'm an FMV guy, what can I say? And also the Rogue Squadron games from Factor 5, who sadly are no longer with us. The Empire Strikes Back here is running on Rebel Strike, which is Rogue Squadron 3. Being able to play Star Wars and The Empire Strikes Back as bonus features on this disc is one of the reasons why I love having it in my library. But Rogue Leader, which was released in 2001, so graphically intensive and so impressive, being able to splice bits of the movie together, or the movies together with what you're doing, really added a sense of realism, and especially the way the graphics looked were such a step up from where we were with the N64 and PlayStation that it was hard not to be impressed. But this is Empire Strikes Back, and I figured, since I've got you here and I've got a little bit, let's go ahead and try and play.
The Force be with you.
stick with easy because I haven't played in a while. And I'm going to kind of tilt just a little bit this way so I can see.
There's a meteorite hit the ground here.
Now this is a little bit different playing with the controller versus playing with the steering stick in the arcades. So the idea here is to pick off a bunch of probots, as many as you can. Whoops, I've already got hit once. And if you shoot down enough probots, you get your first Jedi letter. You can also shoot down the transmissions in order to stave off or extend the level. So now we're taking down walkers. Let me see if I can fly in between. Yeah, this is definitely more difficult. Now you can shoot down walkers by hitting the flashing eyes. Let's see if I can fly through the legs one more time. Here we go. And now we're taking on some TIE fighters. Again, this is one of my favorite things in all of these games. Oh boy, I am not so good with this with the GameCube controller here. There we go. Love that sound. Now it's time for the asteroid field. And again, the idea here is just to avoid them. Usually you can do it by sticking with one of the four corners of the screen. I say usually because in the later levels that's not so easy.
Oh, thank goodness we're coming out of the asteroid
You
field.
did it. Once you get all the letters of Jedi, you've got like a flashing meter here that will count down and you can't die. You can't be hit, you don't lose any shield power.
You picked up something on that thing.
So knowing that, you can just start going for probots if you can. It does get faster in that the transmissions get to the top of the screen a lot faster and you don't have as much time to shoot down enough probots, the required number.
We spotted Imperial walkers.
Here we go. I shouldn't do this, but well, I did it anyway. So back to take down the TIE fighters again. Now I got to shoot down 8, which is much harder than 6. 4 left. 3 left. 2. 1. Come on. Got him. All right.
There's no way to go. Oh, thank goodness we're coming out of the asteroid field.
As usual, when people are watching me play, it's kind of a good luck charm.
He will join us or die.
So I've got a little over 100,000 points at this point.
There's a meteorite hit the ground near you.
And this is where it starts to get tougher.
Imperial waters. Watch that crossfire, boys.
Nothing like flying between the legs to kind of show off a little bit. Well, I'm out of tow cables now.
The wolf is with you. Field doors must be closed. Prepare to make a jump line.
Aw, I got hit late.
I want that shit. Nothing to do.
It's probably going to be it here shortly. Still have 7 ties left. I'm not getting that. Alright, asteroid field time.
Now tell me the odds. Successfully navigating an asteroid field is approximately 3,725 to 1.
Ugh.
Oh, thank goodness we're coming out of the asteroid field.
The son of Skywalker must not become a destroyer. He will join us or die.
Love the difference between 11th and 10th place. I still have another 140,000 points to go before I can get top 10. I've played this game just a little bit, I guess. The trick, of course, to getting the highest scores is to go ahead and start on higher difficulty levels early, as it was in the Star Wars arcade game.
I'm sure Skywalker is with me.
We'll find an Imperial waters.
Oh, I really shouldn't have done that. Dead. I am beaten. And I'll go ahead and put my name up here. So that is The Empire Strikes Back, my favorite Star Wars game of all time, arcade or otherwise. So I'm kind of curious, what are your favorite Star Wars games in celebration of May the 4th? Feel free to share them in the comments below, and I'd love to hear from you. Until the next time, and it will be a regular episode next time once finals are over, which will be in about 10 days. But until then, thanks for watching, everybody, and until then, take care.